any case, so we're a two-person team developing a full-length experience for the HTC Vive. The experience is called Thought, and the notion is it's a small casual game meant for daily meditative, perhaps philosophical use that you are journeying through a thought that you're actually having. So today we want to talk about one of the levels that we designed for it, a small experience, and the things we learned in that design process that hopefully you can take to your own projects in VR or otherwise.
Yeah, in particular designing room scale environments, our experience relies heavily on being able to utilize that room scale and teleport around and actually explore virtual space. So really the first thing that we wanted to focus on when we were building out and coming up with concepts for this is designing environments that are actually worth exploring, that are fun to be in. In particular, today we're going to look at an ocean room that we developed that some of you actually got the chance to experience. And some of the challenges that kind of came up with that. In particular, the challenges that we saw and that we're going to touch on are direction. So giving movement, providing a path through this space, adding a sense of immersion while you're in that space, and then also dealing with things like distance and depth that are really difficult to gauge when you're in VR.
When designing for VR, it is more important than maybe any other field that I have experience with, to iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate. And it's super helpful to have at least one other person to bounce ideas off of, to put them through the experience, to help you figure this out, because you are limited by your perspective, just as you are in real life. More so than you are by a screen, more so than you are by a sentence or a paragraph or any other media. You are limited by your experience in VR and your perspective.
And so, when we were developing, in particular, this ocean room, it was such an abstract concept, and because you're in thought, we wanted to give a sense of both being underwater and entering into an ocean environment at the same time. A lot of one of the big things that we did was draw inspiration from real life. It's interesting seeing, you'll be in VR, but it pales in comparison to actually just going on a walk and getting out into nature. For this environment, we really wanted to draw inspiration from topographic maps. And so the idea was, what is it like to actually be inside of a topographic map? In order to do this, we found one of the most amazing tools was taking ideas and inspiration from the real world and being able to quickly sketch them up. There's so much that you can convey in a conversation, but if you can show a visual asset of that concept that you're coming up with, it's really important.
Just load up Tilt Brush, sketch it out, and send the file over Slack. And that's as quick as uploading a sketch from your sketchbook. This was kind of revolutionary 2 months ago, and now it feels like old hat. But the third lesson there is just prototype often. It's easy to, because you're reacting with your entire self, your sense of presence, your height, your sense of the world, it's easy to get attached to ideas. So prototype and reprototype based on what you learn. Don't get attached early on, because you can build on that to such a personal degree that you've wasted weeks.
And here's another shot of that same room. But to be able to, I don't know if many of you have played around with Tilt Brush, but you can sketch something up and then immediately change the scale. So you can zoom way out and be tiny in this large environment, and then blow it way up and be able to see it from above in a perspective that even a human body wouldn't be able to be in. So the first challenge of providing direction and movement, once we did some Tilt Brush sketches and started the first iterations of this environment, it takes a lot of work to bring something into a modeling program, especially an abstract concept. And so when you build it out, you can really think it's amazing at first.
We thought it was so cool. We thought it was so.
I still think it is.
It is pretty cool.
But when we started doing play tests, we found out that there was no directional cue. You know, here was this massive room that I was blown away by the architecture that I was able to do in a 3D modeling program, and pat myself on the back. And then people got into it and they had no idea where they're going. They didn't know what they were in, and just the general movement path of that space was really difficult. So, you know, that sent us down a path of thinking, well, how can we add direction? How can we add flow to this room? Ultimately, the solution that we came up with for this, I know, it's the death of, you're out of time. The solution that we came up with was to add different events in. We built a dock that you start off on, something man-made, and then that transitions to a crystal bridge that actually brings you through that room, and then ending off on lily pads that you then climb up. So fun way to kind of provide a path, but also different stages allow the player to stop and actually look around and enjoy the environment.
Segment this space either metaphorically or by activity.
Do we have any questions for these guys?
No, we can rip through.
We got one right here.
And what's the title that you're creating this under?
Yeah, so the question was, what's the title that we're creating this under? Right now, the working title is Thought. It's the idea.
It's the same what you described as an experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you got a few seconds.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we'll go quick.
We know people lose their
Totally.
capacity to sit.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see, like, you know, when we stripped everything out, we could really reiterate on that room. So even cramming a bunch of stuff into an environment wasn't going to do it. So strip it away, if nothing else. Figure out what's going to work. You know, here, when we did strip everything away, we realized that adding a ceiling and adding sand, you know, and providing these columns that you reach towards the end of the room actually allowed you to have more of a sense of place and to help round out this metaphor of being underwater. Distance is hard to gauge. Yeah. Depth is a challenge.
Yep.
Provide objects in the foreground and add fog.
Yeah. We got 2 more slides. Just show them.
Yeah.
3 more slides.
Iterate and prototype, listen to feedback, and ruthlessly cut and kill your darlings. And ultimately what that did is took us from something like this when we first started out to an environment that actually does have a sense of being underwater.
Right.
Anyways.
Thanks, everybody.